What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, defensive end from USC, Caleb Tremblay, has entered the transfer portal. I don't really mind it because he's not really a top player for them. It would be good to have him as depth, but it's kind of whatever. So whether he goes or stays doesn't matter to me, so good luck to him. Then I think I said in last week's videos that LeBron James was pretty close. I think they said about 2 to 3 weeks till he can return, and then just right after I put up my last video, it said that there was a report that he could be returning even sooner, even as soon as this week coming up. I think it's more of a, because the Lakers are kind of struggling a bit, even with Anthony Davis coming back. I think they've only won one game since AD has been back in the lineup, but yeah, it's not too bad. I'm pretty sure he's gotten enough rest. I'll explain rest with him and AD coming up, but yeah, I think they've got enough rest so far. So he should be back soon. Then the star freshman center who was just getting his groove in the ACC tournament for Duke, and it just looked very promising for their season until it got cut short. But yeah, he has decided to return back, Mark Williams. I was pretty excited about that. I think he could have been a second round pick at least, but if he were to return with the type of lineup that he's going to be playing in next year, I think it's going to benefit him more. He could be a late first round pick, so that'll be good for him. Then Anaheim Ducks defensive player Jacob Silverberg had season-ending hip surgery last week. I think we mentioned that he had an injury that he might be out for the rest of the year, but yeah, it's official. At least the surgery went well. He should be 100% for the fall when the next season comes around. But yeah, definitely one of our top guys we have to keep around. Hopefully he will be 100% healthy by next year. Then when it comes to the Chargers and this draft happening tomorrow, both them and the Giants apparently are eyeing the offensive lineman Penei Sewell out of Oregon. I know Justin Herbert's been pushing for them to draft him and been posting a lot of stuff about him lately, but I think if he somehow gets past Cincinnati at number 5, then it could be an all-out war to try to get up in the draft and trade up there. I just don't know what team would want to be able to do that with the type of players available at that spot. Most of those guys don't even need an offensive lineman, but I still don't think they're going to trade out. So it's going to be tough, but hopefully he does land somewhere close so they can trade up for Justin Herbert, make him happy. Then AD recently came out saying after a couple games being back that he's not going to miss any more games or even sit out back-to-back games, just because he mentioned that he felt he had enough rest, which to me is kind of weird because we've all been hearing that him and LeBron have been out because of an injury, but I kind of think this whole long layoff for both of them, which is about a month and a half, I think it was more for resting because they didn't have enough time in between when they won the championship and then the start of this new season. So I kind of knew this was going to end up happening. I didn't think it was going to happen for so long, but luckily the Lakers were able to keep somewhat of a 500 record, and I mean, they could have been at the top of the West if they would have stayed and not gotten these injuries and stayed out. They would have had 40 plus wins, almost 50 wins, if you count the record and think that they would have stayed on the same trajectory. But I don't know, as long as they can avoid the 7 and 8 spot and not have to play teams 9 and 10, I think it's all good. Either way, I don't think any team wants to see them in the first round, but it should be very interesting which teams head on to the second round in the West, in my opinion. Then mentioning the Lakers, yes, the one lone victory they have gotten with Anthony Davis in the lineup was against Orlando, and it was a pretty close game for it being Orlando, and they shipped out a lot of their players and stuff, and still a competitive game, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I think AD finally did good better. He had like 18 points and a double-double. Harrell finally played. For some reason he didn't play the last game, but yes, luckily they were able to get the victory, and Dennis Schroeder still has been playing well ever since both those guys have been out. I think, in my opinion, once LeBron gets back, I think they're gonna let Schroeder rest because he's had this weird infection on his foot, and he's still been playing. He's kind of like hobbling here and there, but he's still been very productive. But I think they might give him like a week or two to be able to rest up before the playoffs and try to be as close to 100% with everyone being healthy by then. But I don't know, that's just the way I see things going pretty soon. And then Zion Williamson has become one of the youngest people to reach 2,000 points before his 80th NBA game. He's in loan company with Michael Jordan. I don't think that says he's as good as Michael Jordan, but it's pretty crazy to score 2,000 plus points within 80 games. So that would be within one season. It's pretty crazy with the amount of injuries he's already had to deal with so far. But who knows, without those injuries, he probably could have surpassed Michael Jordan even quicker. But as long as he's healthy, that's the main important thing for the NBA. Then both the Lakers and head coach Frank Vogel said they're going to talk after this season about a contract extension. I believe he's on the books for one more year. I think they lined him up with LeBron and AD sort of, but they're probably going to try to see. I think it is cheaper to get an extension than to get a brand new contract. And the fact that that's happening with it's tough to say, but a white coach with LeBron, it's always kind of crazy. But yeah, at least it's been a good partnership so far. There has been one championship, and we'll see what else can happen. But yeah, usually LeBron is known as the coach killer, kind of no matter whether you're white or black. But yeah, luckily it's been a good partnership so far, and we'll see what can happen at the end of this season coming up. Then USC incoming freshman Malik Thomas, he's coming in to the fall for next year's USC basketball team. He just recently became his high school's all-time leading scorer, so hopefully that's some a good product, a good player who can score very well coming into USC. It should be a very interesting team next year for USC as well. We'll see what they get in the transfer portal, but definitely looking forward to him playing. And then the NCAA kind of made a weird extension with their president. Mark Emmert has always been the bad face of the NCAA and made some questionable decision or calls about certain things and problems, probations, all that stuff. And they kind of just extended his contract to the end of 2025 when, I don't know how they did that when he's been such an enigma, as they call it. So I don't know. I think they should have just let his contract expire, find someone else. But maybe the best person for that could be Coach K, but he still looks like he wants to coach. And I think once he's done with coaching Duke, he might be done coaching and being involved in sports altogether. And then, yes, my favorite general manager of the Chargers, Tom Telesco, he had a press conference over the weekend and caught it a little bit later, but I did hear one thing in particular that kind of caught my ear was that he is pretty bullish, as the article says, on this left tackle they drafted in the third round a couple of years ago in Trey Pipkins. I thought it was a crazy, horrible draft pick in the first place, and it's been like that so far. He barely started playing even this last season, got a couple of games maybe started, and he just didn't look like a good enough guy who has been developed so far. I'm pretty sure Telesco blamed that on the coaching, the prior coaching, and now that there's better coaches, he might become a better product on the field, but I just still don't see it. I think he's kind of being pushed into a corner trying to save face for all these guys he drafted that haven't been performing well or gotten pretty bad injuries and stuff and missed a whole year. But I don't know. I don't think it's Pipkins' fault. I think if he's a Division III football player, there's a reason why, and being drafted that high puts too much expectations on you no matter what team you're on. And I just never heard of any other team talking about him prior to the draft, during that draft. So yes, not a good thing for Tom Telesco to be pushing for a guy like that, but whatever. Thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.